Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off your hot and cold water supplies. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the Samsung washer tub to pump hose. It's going to be a very easy repair and it should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new tub to pump hose. The tub to pump hose goes in between the fitting on the bottom of the tub over to the pump. The main reason to be changing it out is if it has a hole in it and you're getting water on the floor. Before we take the machine apart, we have to remove the 3 screws along the bottom and disconnect the drain hose from its little holder. Remember, the machine is heavy, so if you need to get somebody to help you, make sure you do. But we're going to tilt the washer back and put a block of wood underneath it to support it. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the 3 screws. Now that we have the screws out, we can remove the wooden block. Make sure you get somebody to help you if you need to. Anytime you're changing either the pump motors or the tub to pump hose or the tub itself, you want to drain as much water out of that so when you're changing the part, you don't get water all over the place. All you have to do is press down on this release lever and open the door. Then get something to catch the water in, and then you can reach inside and pull the drain hose off. To get the drain cap off, all you have to do is pull it out. And then make sure you lower it down into the bowl so you catch any water. Once you have most of it drained out, you can lift it back up and put the drain cap in. You can just close the door again. In order to get to the part, we have to take off the top of the washer. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the screws. Now that we have the screws out, we can take the top off. All you have to do is pull it back about an inch or so, far enough so these locking tabs come out, and then you can lift it off and set it aside. With the top out of the way, we can remove the detergent drawer. All you have to do is pull it out and press this little button right here to release it. Once you have it released, you can pull the drawer out and set it aside. Now that we have the detergent drawer out of the way, we can use our Phillips screwdriver to remove these 2 screws so we can push the whole dispenser back. With the screws out, we can push this back so it clears the opening. Now we can take off the control panel. There's a couple tabs along the top, so all you have to do is kind of lift up on the plastic and pull towards the front of the washer. Once you have them released, you can rotate the panel forward so we can disconnect the 2 wiring harnesses. To disconnect the wiring harnesses, all you have to do is press on the tab to release them and pull them apart. With the wiring harnesses disconnected, we can pull the console off. With the control panel out of the way, we can open up the washer door so we can remove the screws that hold the door switch and lock assembly in. We're going to use a Phillips screwdriver and remove all 3. Now that we have the door switch unmounted, we can take the outer spring clamp out. There's usually a spring down at 6 o'clock. We're going to take a small flathead screwdriver and carefully get underneath it. Once we have it pried out, we're going to go counterclockwise and take the clamp off the seal. With the clamp off the door boot seal, we're going to pull it out of its channel and kind of get it off the front panel. Now we can close the door and remove these 4 screws that hold the top of the panel in. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take them out. Now that we have the screws out, we're going to open up the door again, and we have to lift up the front panel to get it off these 2 tabs right here. To get the front panel off, we're going to lift it up just a little bit So we see the white panel come up over the tabs. Once you have it released, you want to be careful to not let it drop because the door wants to pull it down. We have to reach in and release these hoses out of these clips right here. There's one here and there's one at the bottom. All you have to do is pull it out carefully. Sometimes the whole tab will come right off. That's okay, you can just leave it on there. And then we have to lower it down a little bit more so we can pull that drain hose out that we took out of its mounting clip. With the hoses out of the way, we can lift the front panel off the 3 brackets on the bottom. Once you have it released, you can set it aside. Now that we have the front panel off, we have access to the part. There's 3 clamps that we have to take off to remove the tub to pump hose. So the first one we're going to take off is the one that attaches to the pump assemblies. Now we already drained all the water out as much as we could before we took the front panel off, but you still want to throw some towels down because you're probably going to get some water that's going to come out, and you want to make sure you don't get it on the floor. To get the first clamp off, we're going to grab it with our pliers, and once we have it compressed, we can move it back up the hose, and then we can pull the hose off the pump assemblies. Then we can remove the hose that goes off to the air pressure switch. All we have to do on this one is squeeze it. It's just a finger clamp, and slide it up the hose and then take it off this fitting. Now that we have the air pressure fitting hose off, we're going to reach around the back side with a ratchet and a 10mm socket to get this last clamp off. They put the screw head on the back side, so we're going to have to do it by reaching underneath. Once you have it loose, you can just turn it by hand, and then we can pull the tub to pump hose off the bottom of the tub. Once you have it loose, we can pull it out of the washing machine. Here's the old tub to pump hose next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. They do give you 2 new clamps, but they don't give you the one that goes over to the pump housing. It's not a very strong clamp, so we're just going to use our hand and take it off the old one and put it on the new one. Once you have the clamp moved over, we can put it into the machine. Now we can put the new tub to pump hose back into the washer. You want to line it up so it's with the bottom of the tub. There's a little notch in the side of the hose right here that has to line up with the tab on the side over here. Looks the same as this one. You just want to make sure when you push it up that that tab is in the right spot so the other 2 hose connections line up. The tub to pump hoses are tough to get on because if they dry out, they don't slide very easily. So if while we're changing it out, the bottom of the tub dried out or the new hose is dry, you can get a little bit of water on it. Once you have the tab lined up right here, then you can move the clamp up and we can reach back in there with our 10mm socket again and tighten it down. Now that we have the clamp tightened down, we can put the air pressure hose back on. You want to make sure that this little tab right here goes into that little notch. Now all you have to do is push it on and slide it up into place. Once you have it up all the way, we can grab that little squeeze clamp and move it up to the very top. Once you have it in place, we can go over and reconnect the hose to the pump housing assembly. To put that one on, we're going to slide the hose up. And you want to make sure that this little notch right here goes onto that tab. Once you have it lined up, you can push it on the rest of the way. And then you want to move the clamp up in between these 2 lines so you get a good seal. You can grab a pliers if you have to, but it's a pretty easy clamp. Once you have the clamp in place, you can let it go, and then we can put the washer back together. To put the front panel back on, all you have to do is carefully set it onto the 3 brackets. We can stick that drain hose back into the housing. and then we'll slowly lift up the panel and either reclip or remount this onto the front panel. Once you have the hoses in, we can carefully push the panel up into place and make sure these two locking tabs snap in. Once you have the front panel pushed into place, we can put the 4 screws back in. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to put those back in. Now that we have the front panel on the washer, we can open the door back up, and we have to reach inside the door boot seal and grab the door switch assembly and line it up so we can put the screws in. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in. As you're putting the first one in, you're going to have to reach inside and hold the switch in place. Now that we have the door switch mounted, we can put the door boot seal on. Remember, you have to put this lip right here, right in the channel. We have to go around the whole door and make sure it's in there properly. Once you go around and you're sure you have it in the channel, we can put the outer spring clamp back on. To put the clamp on, we're going to put the clamp down at 6 o'clock. Once you have the spring in there, we're going to hold it in place and then go around and put the spring clamp into the groove. Once you get over here to about 3 o'clock, it's going to be kind of hard to get on. We're going to hold it there and then grab the spring clamp with our locking pliers. And we want to pull out this way towards the side of the machine. If you pull out to the front, it's just going to pull the clamp right off. So just pull to the side and then put it into the channel. Once you have the spring clamp in place, we can close the door again so we can put the console on. To put the console back on, we have to line these locking tabs with these little holes, so when we put it up into place, they're lined up. So once you have it started, we're going to tilt it up a little bit, and then we're going to reconnect the harness wires. To reconnect the harness wires, all you have to do is match them up. There's 2 different sizes, so you can't mix them up. Just make sure you push them back together so they get a good connection and lock in place. With the wire harnesses connected, you want to carefully push the console up, making sure that the harnesses go through the hole, and then you can snap it into place onto this frame. Now we can put the detergent housing back into the opening. All you have to do is reach in and guide it forward so it comes out through the control panel. Once you have it in place and the screw holes lined up, we can use our Phillips screwdriver to put the screws back in. We can put the detergent drawer back in. All you have to do is line it up on its rails and push it back in so the tab locks. Once you have it in there, you can push it all the way in. To reinstall the washer top, we can set it down just like when we took it off, about 1 inch or so away from the tabs. Once you have them lined up, we can push it forward so it goes all the way in. Now that we have the top in place, we can use our Phillips screwdriver and put the screws back in. Now that we have everything else put back together on the washer, we can lift it up and use that wood block to support it so we can put the 3 screws in at the bottom. Remember to get somebody to help you if you need to, because the machine is heavy. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to put the 3 screws back in. Now that we have the screws in, we can take the block out. Make sure you get somebody to help you if you need to. We can open up this panel and put the drain hose back in its retainer clip. Once you have it in place, you can close the door. Now that we have the washer put back together, we can plug it back in turn the water back on, and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.